Morning from California, I guess. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Great to see you are all here to talk about the ACP-520, I believe this thing is called, or the Atlassian Cloud Org Admin training. Welcome back. We had a brief hiatus there so we could do one last summer holiday. Otherwise, I am back and ready to learn. So as always, love hearing where folks are from in the chat. I'm out in the Bay Area, California, so up near the beautiful Golden Gate. I'll give folks just a couple minutes to trickle on in and join us, and then we'll get started with our usual hand-picked selection of information. And just give me a quick thumbs up or something if y'all can hear me. Always paranoid the audio on this thing doesn't work. All right. Well, folks, without further ado, Pam, welcome. Rohit, good to see you. John, that is a Lego Millennium Falcon. That also has the lighting kit, which is a nice little extra add-on. The interesting thing is you got to build the whole thing first, and then you disassemble parts of it to sneak in some LEDs. But that, to me, where is it? There it is. Makes me overly excited. Does anyone know what that thing is over my shoulder, by the way? Curious if anyone knows what that thing is. I'll drop a quick poll. Okay, and with that opening beginner poll to whatever this thing is, it's not quite a taco axolotl. It is super geeky. Thank you, Kythra. John, I would recommend the lighting kit if that's something you can afford to get yourself and your family. I might have spelled that wrong. Snacks. It's a snaxolotl. It's an axolotl eating a little taco, which overly amuses me because it's a pun. Snack, axolotl, smashed together. Anywho, that's enough talking about my background for right now. Always happy to take questions about it. We are here to talk about the ACP-520. It does kind of look like a salamander. It's got the head frills, though, John, like an axolotl. A quick way of introduction if folks don't know me. I'm Rob. Been using Atlassian since about 2013. And I do these trainings to help folks avoid the pain of learning by doing, which works for some people. That's how I learned. But it can be frustrating and you can make easy mistakes and you don't know what's going on. So we're here to help avoid some of those hurdles. I also learned that what we used to call apps, the things you get from the marketplace, are now called marketplace apps. So Atlassian is modifying a lot of its terminology. So just keep that in mind. YouTube is great, as you all know. Please use the chat to interact. Drop your questions in there, interact with each other, make comments about my background. Anything at all, but feel free to interact when you would like in the chat. It should just be over there, that side of your screen, unless you've moved it. But also, please like and subscribe. I'm doing all of these now professionally. This is effectively my job. So any support you can provide is helpful, and the easiest way to support me is to hit the like button. That will help other people find this video, and also tells me that you enjoy learning this and want to learn more stuff like it. There are other ways to support me. There's a QR code right under my head, and I'll talk more about that as we go. I need to update that. I've got a whole learning site where I've got different learning courses on Atlassian, topics on other things. There we go. That you may find useful. And so if you're looking into that, these are paid, but they'll help support me and get you great knowledge. That's another way to support the channel, but mainly use the chat. I'll also do things like drop Q&A or little polls like you're seeing with that what's over my shoulder, just to interact with you all more. Usually those questions will relate to what we're talking about. And today we're talking about the Cloud Org Admin certification. Now you don't have to take the certification to benefit from this learning. It'll give you a good foundation, a good understanding of how it works. Tushar, good to see you, my friend. However, my goal is over these 8 sessions, and we have one left, is to get through everything you would need in order to pass that exam. So if you do want to take it, you will be set up for success. But everything you're learning will also help you in your job, talking to people, figuring things out. Today, we're going to focus on the last of what Atlassian calls the advanced features. I'll do a little bit of recap from last time. We talked about things like application tunnels and APIs and custom emails. So we'll quickly go over those to see if any questions popped up since then. And then dig into the last few advanced features, at least as defined by Atlassian. This is also the breakdown of the exam. I am gearing up to start more seriously studying for it. And I remind myself of this because if I can nail everything in orgs and user groups, that's a passing score. So when I think through how do I want to study, I typically give myself a month of study time, and I focus in on the areas where I'm less comfortable or the bigger ticket areas to make sure I capture as much of that as I can. And I'll talk about some other study tips as we go for folks who might be interested. So today we're covering AI across the org, so Atlassian Intelligence in this context in Rovo, and also configuring product requests. So when someone wants to request access to a product or to add one, how do we as admins handle it? One immediate call out just to share with folks, they have updated at least the UI of their learning site. So when I popped this open a couple of days ago, it just looks different. All the content's still in there, but you'll notice things like the learning path is now on the right. And then they've visually displaying the sections a little bit differently. So just be aware when you go in there, like many areas of Atlassian and many areas of cloud products, they're constantly changing and evolving, which is good and bad. But quick recap, there are APIs. I was going to say, I like the poll about the snacks a lot. I'll get rid of that though. We have other polls we can do. We had spoken last time about APIs and what they can do, but curious if someone in the chat can quickly put in a very brief, 2-sentence description of what an API is while I go dig it up in the wrong place. I want it to go here. There we go. So one topic from last week were these APIs and what are those for and why do we care about them? Liz, good to see you. Now, they're an important concept because especially as we're developing within Atlassian. Oh, maybe I don't have them here. There we go. There we go. I like that, Liz. Like a conversation between apps. They're our way application programming interface. As admins, we need to keep an eye on these. So one big thing I might expect on the exam is managing these and just knowing we can shut them off at any point. So keep in mind that API, nailed it, Kaitra. Mateo, welcome. Hope I pronounced that properly. We as the org admin control all of these, whereas the individual tokens, are what are used by developers to connect things. So we as the org admin control all of these, and this is up to us to make sure we're monitoring and maintaining them. So add to your list of things that admins need to be doing, taking in all this API information and making sure you are revoking or deleting them as you go. The other topic we covered 2 weeks ago was application tunnels. And this is a way to connect a cloud instance into data center. Or in the old days, I think server as well. So if you're migrating, you can connect these two things. This is similar to a virtual private network or VPN because it will allow a secure connection between your data center instance and your cloud. I don't know if many folks will use these necessarily because I imagine most of us are in cloud, but when you're traversing or spanning both of these, you'll have to set up this tunnel, and it's just a trusted way. Oddly, there's also a separate marketplace app you have to go download and get to make this work. What was the last one? Emails was our last topic last week, just as a quick lightning recap. We have to add domains in order for this to work, but we can add different emails. So instead of everything coming from the no reply at jcool.atlassian.net, it can come from info@heen.tech or whatever address you would like. So before app admins can use this, so if you're a Confluence app admin, you can select different email addresses. Before they can do it, You need to set it up here at the org. Yes, Matteo used it mainly for DC to cloud, the app tunnels. And that's the main use case, Tushar, as far as I understand it. You're migrating. I guess technically if you maintained a data center instance, you could also have a cloud instance and have them talk. But I'm fairly sure the main use case is going to be migrations for that application tunnel. And that is probably different than Forge tunnels, Liz. Yeah, so everything in the context of this training relates just to the org admin, right? Not to Forge, not to building things, just our ability to control and turn off these features. Okay, new exciting fun stuff. Atlassian Intelligence, or AI. Drives me nuts that they use that particular acronym because AI is AI and you don't know what I'm talking about. Tushar, what is a JCMA, if you could help us understand? Atlassian Intelligence is that, excuse me, AI tool that the wonderful people at Atlassian have added. Most people probably interact with it in terms of the writing assistant. So think of it like ChatGPT in Atlassian. They're starting to expand out what it can do, though. If you aren't familiar with it, it's available in premium and higher. So that's one thing we'll have to see. We have to have premium and up. Because of that, I don't know if I'll be able to modify it in my demo box, but we're going to find out. It's got a lot of great features. Now, the use of an AI tool typically is not something that we as the the org admin get to decide. Our broader organization may have said, you know what, we don't trust this stuff. We're not going to let anyone use it. So this is another instance of we as admins have to be working with our InfoSec, our information security team, our legal team, other people to make sure if we turn this on that it's okay with everyone. Tushar, love your calling that out. Tushar is referencing a tool that organizations will use when they migrate off of data center into cloud, especially when they do it with like a service partner or with Atlassian itself. So you'll see this thing JCMA, Jira Cloud Migration Assistance. I don't believe this shows up at all in this particular exam. However, as an admin, it's important to know this tool exists in case you ever end up being the person helping with a migration. So just keep in mind that there are many tools to help with migrations. As the org admin, we mainly need to know what the application tunnel is and that we can set it up and basically how it works. Just a quick poll for folks. Have you ever migrated from data center or server to cloud? Mostly asking because I'm curious. I personally have not been in an organization who's made that jump, so I haven't seen the challenges. I've migrated other systems, but not Atlassian ones. And also a quick reminder, hit the like button if you like this and find it useful. Great way to support me but help other people learn. So again, Atlassian Intelligence, we want to make sure if we want to use it that it's okay for our organization. So just a reminder there that the decisions we make as org admins, some of them can be our own, but many of them will be impacted by the organization we happen to work at and the policies and other things we have. A massive call out, and this is a concern that many people rightfully have. Using it at Atlassian Intelligence is predicated or based on your permissions. So if I go use an AI tool to look something up, it's only going to give me stuff that I have access to see already. It's not going to allow me to see content or access information that I as a user don't already possess. Wow, Matteo, that is like a record, my friend. 20 instances. Love that. So regardless of, the AI tool we're using or Atlassian Intelligence tool we're using, our permissions in the product, in the app, they're no longer products. Our app permissions will impact what Atlassian Intelligence can give us. These are a lot of examples of different ways Atlassian Intelligence can work. As the org admin, we just need to be aware of what they are. And the reason for that is because we are the person or organization is going to ask for guidance. Hey, should we use it? Or what else can we get out of it? Or what else should it be doing? How do we train our users? So we may not be, as the admin, using all of these tools to administer Jira or Confluence or Atlassian products. However, we as the admin have to know what it can do. So when our team comes to us, we can tell them with confidence, hey, we can use it to create content across different systems. I don't think we would have to memorize what it does in every system. You'll notice that this page lists out which specific features things work in. And I realize I didn't drop the link. Oh no, it's too long. The link that I just dropped is this page. Just so y'all can follow along if you like. I don't think we'll have to memorize, oh, generating content works in Trello and Jira and service management and Bitbucket. But again, as admins, it's good to know these things so we can help out our team. So it can generate stuff just like it can, or just like ChatGPT is what you'll hear me say quite a bit. It can also help with editing. It can help extend or expand what you've written. This is a bit of a throwback, but I remember when Microsoft Word included a shorten feature where you could select a paragraph and shorten it down. And I always had a lot of fun shrinking the paragraph down to a single word just to see what the tool would do and what it thought my entire paragraph meant. This is similar. You can use Atlassian Intelligence to expand or extend what you've written. I personally haven't used this yet. That said, I'm not very good at incorporating AI tools into my workflows, I'll be honest. But this is something else that can help support our teams. And this shows up in multiple spots on like Jira work items and Confluence pages. One of the bigger use cases that I like is summarizing. It'll read a page in Confluence or all the changes on a work item and just tell you, hey, here's the difference. Both from when you were last there, but also just what's on it. This is really useful for longer pages. So this is something I tell my teams about. And they've started hiding that little button in the bottom right of a lot of pages. So just let folks know, hey, to access Atlassian Intelligence, you got to go find, I'm calling this the Starburst icon. I don't know what Atlassian calls the AI logo, but look for that little icon to go dig things up. And it looks like almost half of us have migrated server or DC to cloud, which, given what this certification is for, again, mainly admins and folks a little bit more in depth, does not surprise me too much. But I've got another poll. Just curious, like how frequently folks use AI tools like this. Woo, helps if I spell. And again, mostly curious. I have not incorporated them very much. I use them more general AI, artificial intelligence tools within Liz, I love it. You're reading my mind and jumping the gun. All we're learning right now is what can it do. We'll eventually get into turning it on and off, and then controlling it by products. Now, interestingly, this particular exam, or at least this particular section, doesn't include a lot on Rovo, so I'll also go and talk about that. And this is where I could currently, these are two separate concepts. You have Atlassian Intelligence and you have Rovo. Rovo is all of the, I'll call it agentic or the agents you'll see running around. And we're starting to see it in use a lot more. It's also now free for premium and enterprise, and they're going to push it down into standard. But Atlassian Intelligence is a separate feature as far as I understand it right now. They're starting to blur the line, though. So we're starting to see Rovo creep in where Atlassian Intelligence used to exist. So I wouldn't be surprised, and this is just my guess, that Atlassian Intelligence will just flip into Rovo one day. And we'll just call it all Rovo. But for the purposes right now, these are just the ways that we can use Atlassian Intelligence. So just keep in mind that this doesn't cover what Rovo can do. Rovo can do some of these things like summarize, but it can also do a lot of other things like build agents to help with tasks. Another very big use case for me is searching using natural language. If anyone has struggled to learn JQL or JQuil, as I call it, Jira Query Language, this is a really great way to speed up your learning process. And the same is true in automations. So you can just type in a natural language, what work items are flagged, or who has been assigned these work items, or any question. And the AI tool will attempt to interpret that. Again, like with every AI tool, look at it skeptically and double check its work. If you're using Atlassian Analytics, it can also spit out SQL or SQL, structured query language. This is not a use case I have used because I have not been in organizations that happen to use this product. However, if you're using Atlassian Analytics, Atlassian Intelligence is also available to help build SQL queries. So again, this is something I learned through this, and my weakness of learning by doing. By going through this training and these exams, I now have something new. If I ever end up using Atlassian Atlassian Analytics. It can also go in and help out in Jira Service Management, suggesting request types. I also think there's a beta right now to help build workflows in Jira using AI. Let me just go quickly, stupidly check that. But we can easily see a lot more of these tools starting to creep in and starting to help build out different aspects of the system across different apps and different products. So again, keep in mind Atlassian Intelligence is there. It's the ChatGPT. They were first mover advantage, kind of like Google means to search of it. And I do love this call out. Hey, we're constantly updating it. So check out this documentation. And let's pop over here real quick and just see what else this thing can do. Oh, beta. Okay, this is not as updated as I was hoping it would be. Generate SQL, we've got that. Search across linked knowledge bases, yes. Summarize chart data, that's interesting. Okay, so not as exciting as I was hoping. All right, folks, quick coffee break for Rob, a quick like break for everyone, and then we'll jump into how to turn this on and off. So remember to hit that like button. Hey, Justin R., but please drop questions in the chat. I can also put up a little questions bar. I used the questions bar for a bit and kind of stopped. What I don't like about it is it hides the questions until I pull them up, meaning other folks can't see your questions. So let me know what you think of the questions bar. I'll leave it up there just to help encourage folks to put in questions, though. And Liz coming from the high ropes, excuse the expression. I appreciate Liz is here. She does a lot of work on the API, the programming end, which I don't do. So she has this great perspective. What she's calling out here is Atlassian Analytics, or at least how Forge, the way you can build apps in Atlassian products, communicates with analytics is not SOC or ISO certified. Now, as an admin, I need to understand that. I need to be aware that there are certain conventions and certain standards for protecting data and for certifying systems. And as of now, anyway, these systems don't meet some of those certifications. So this is another thing. This probably wouldn't be on an exam, but as an admin, I always need to be asking myself, hey, Liz has asked to use Atlassian Analytics for these things. What else do I need to know about it? And if I don't know the answer, I need to go to my information security team, my legal team, someone else, and start talking through what we need to do to make sure we can do it appropriately. So just another reminder, and there'll be a lot of these, that our work as admins is not just knowing which buttons to push. It's knowing why we need to push them and what else we need to be asking. All right, this is a big call out. Atlassian Intelligence is enabled by default. I guess a question for the group, pop into chat. Why is this a challenge for me, or why could this be a problem? It's turned on by default. I'll come back and give you my answer after some folks have dropped in chat. Org admins can disable the entire product, or it can disable by product basis or app by app. So we do have some granularity. We can say, hey, people in Jira, you get to use it, but people in Bitbucket, no. All right, we'll take a quick look at this and to jump into my demo instance and see if we can actually do this. All right. So here I've got my AI settings, AI enabled apps. That is pretty straightforward. And I can just click remove. Now, one call out if I do remove AI from this is it doesn't impact what's already been created. So if I made a page using AI or someone's looking at a summary right now, it's not going to delete those things. And if other apps can access Confluence, they can still use that data. So all it's doing is saying users in my Confluence won't be able to go in and use it. So I'll just skip this. So now I can see it's been removed. No one can use it. So if I go pop over into my Confluence, which let's do that real quick. What am I in? jQuil, Confluence. I should not have the ability to use AI. Oh, it's there. Aha. Interesting. So I am an org admin, so it's just reminding me, hey, this hasn't been turned on. Interesting. So that's good to know. If I try and use it as the org admin, I get a pop-up. I wonder if regular users don't even see it. And I don't think I have a test user. As a follow-up, in Discord, I'll drop in a test here. So I've dropped a link to Discord. This is just a chat platform. It might not work for a work email, so you might have to sign up for a personal email if you're not in there already. But about 200 folks in there talking about just Atlassian questions. I will see if I can test out what happens if a non-org admin tries to access this, and also drop the answer on LinkedIn. But it looks like I've turned it off for the org. I can still see it in my macros list, but I can't see it like down in the bottom right, which is where a summary would be, or the help writing. So back into my admin panel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Chad, it's going to give me a pop-up saying, hey, this is a pretty cool thing. You really should use this. You should go request to use it. Liz, if you have sensitive data-filled database, so this is back to AI is turned on by default. That for me is again, just something we need to know. I was going to say annoyance. I understand why they do it, because for most groups, most of the time it's going to be useful. However, your organization may not want this turned on. So just be aware that when you start using cloud products, it's automatically going to be turned on if you have it. So if you're on premium or higher, it's just going to be there. Again, something as admins we just need to know, and something like this could show up on the exam because it can have a lot of implications. Alfonso, yes, this is the bane kind of having a cloud product, right? There's all these premium features and premium things that they want us to use. And then our poor users see these little pop-ups and just start smashing the I want this button, right? So don't be surprised if it's flipped off if your users start requesting and asking for it, just because they're going to be looking at it quite a bit. So that's turning it off. Now, of course, we can flip it back on. So I'm just going to pop back into my, I was going to say my Confluence, wow. My admin panel, and just click Select Apps. Again, I only have one. That should make this very simple. I'll just click Next. Now, I do like how they have this little call out. Go check out our Trust Center to see how we use it. And as a reminder, all the data sent through Atlassian Intelligence is encrypted. Only you should see it, that kind of thing. I'm laughing here. John is calling out. You can turn off the end user's ability to say, I want that, if you're on enterprise. So I guess it's a pay for play. It's a pay for your admin sanity. I'm amused that they do it at that scale. That said, I can only imagine having a 30,000 person company where even 10% of people are clicking, I want that every week. That must be insane. All right, so we've turned it back on, and you can see like nothing changed other than it's available. So that's how quick and easy it is. You just come in here and you remove stuff, or you select apps and add them back in. You might be missing a $sign there, John. So that's turning it on and off. Now, while we're here, and this does include Rovo's AI. Now, there isn't AI settings for Rovo, so I'm going to call this out. This isn't explicitly on the exam, but this is where we as admins come in and enable Rovo and connect it to things. Rovo is a little bit different than Atlassian Intelligence in that we have to connect it to data sources, essentially. So by default, it can tie into Atlassian products. So we can see it's tied into Confluence, JSM, and Jira. But I also can add different connectors. So Rovo can talk to a lot of different systems. And again, what I tie it into is dependent on my company, on my policies, on what we use, all of these different things. So if we use whatever AHA is, I can connect Rovo to that, and that then gives AHA the ability to go read it and take a look. Hey, Chad, I've shared this story a couple of times, but I bothered admins by breaking things just because I didn't know what I was doing. And that's why I do these trainings, so I don't tick off the admins quite so much. I got very lucky. The admin who I worked with actually just sat me down and taught me what to do. He said, look, you're making more trouble. You're making so much trouble. I'll just take an hour and train you. And that was great. Justin, I am assuming this is what's going to happen. And I mainly say that because we're seeing, Rovo creep into everything. Also, I like saying Rovo more than AI because if I say AI, no one knows what's going on. Mateo, thank you so much for coming. Hope you hit the like button. Hope to see you next time. The next session is in 2 weeks, September 8th. It's a holiday here in the States next Monday. So I'll see you in 2 weeks for this series for our review. And a quick poll. All right. Our next session is in 2 weeks. So the quick poll is just reminding us when is the next session? Chad, hopefully you treat those as learning situations, and hopefully your admin was as generous as mine was. I'm still good friends with this guy. I've never met him in person. He worked at a different office, a different city. But he got me into Atlassian and helped me learn how this stuff works. So this is where we add Rovo sites or different connectors. And then in bookmarks, we can bookmark specific results for people. So if there are specific terms or specific things that people search for and it gives incorrect answers, or if we want to point them in a certain area, we can do that. So we can kind of seed Rovo with specific responses for our organization. We have daily conversations. Hopefully they're good. And then there's a resources tab. This is just learning more about Rovo. I'm a Rovo, I was going to say dummy, initiate, novice, beginner. So I need to dig through here more. But keep in mind, as admins, we can control the connectors. What data does Rovo have access to? By default, it's going to be all the stuff in our organization, in our apps, but we can add more with the Add Connectors button. Like all AI tools, make sure you're talking to your security team to make sure whatever you're doing is okay. Oh, interesting. The steps for enabling Atlassian Intelligence for Bitbucket and Trello are different. Well, that's wonderful. I wonder if this is done through Bitbucket. Yeah. Okay, so as org admins, we just need to be aware AI for Bitbucket is done from Bitbucket, not from the admin panel. And I imagine for Trello it's the same. So just a minor variance. Every product except Trello and Bitbucket we control from our admin panel, but those two we have to go somewhere else. All right, team. I dropped that question bar. I'm not seeing any questions in it. But please keep the questions coming if you've got any. And yes, September 8th is our next session. Tusharo's got a question. Is Rovo and AI two different things? They are two separate things right now. As I've mentioned, I'm pretty sure eventually they will be merged into a single thing. So don't be surprised if in a year we're just talking about Rovo and Rovo just does everything Atlassian Intelligence does today. But as of right now, they are two separate things within Atlassian. Our next topic is product requests. These are those fun, exciting, challenging requests you'll get for different products and things. Wow, Chad, that little GIF is amazing. And it lets us just control if managed accounts are allowed to request or allowed to sign up for new products. I have heard some great stories of org admins ending up with like 17 different sites that they don't know about because this is allowed. So this will be something that every org is going to want to consider. Do we want to allow our team to request or sign up for new products? There's a strong argument, no, we don't, because then you'll have people in your organization accidentally spinning up new instances for you. And I like these two examples. These are two basically opposite scenarios. Again, this is a nice idea in my mind. At scale, I think this is a little bit crazy. Again, if you have 10,000 people and only 1% of them make a new product, you're suddenly staring at 100 new products. So groups that I talk to and people that I work with typically would restrict this. They would say, no, you can't just go sign up a new Atlassian product. A very big call out, these have to be managed accounts. So typically this would be anyone with your @company email. So anyone with @heen.tech, if they try to sign up for a site or sign up for an Atlassian product, I can control whether or not they can do that or not. They can go do it on their own personal email or some other company account. That's fine. I just want to control what's being set up for my organization's needs. And as a reminder, Jira, JSM, and Confluence can do product requests with Enterprise. So this is just reminding us, hey, we can control this at the Enterprise tier. And I don't know if I have an Enterprise box to show this in, so we'll see what I can demo. We can go to the product request sections under Security tab for each product. We can require admin review, which is good, so a two-step process. Liz wants it, and then I say yes or no, you can't have it. Or I can just allow them to do it. Now, you won't get notifications if they do it, and this is where the risk pops in. You'll end up with someone starting their own Jira instance. There is a discovered products list. So let's go over here. Where did they say it was? Come back. Product requests, security. Security. Here is the discovered apps. Now, there's nothing in here because I'm the only person in here, but this would list if there are other apps that have been set up by a managed account. So this would be something I would add to my monitoring, where I would check this every, few weeks. I wouldn't look at this too frequently. Oh, yes, they are, Liz. If anyone has seen a movie called The Legend of Ron Burgundy, he just reads what's on the screen. The word product still shows up in here all over the place. So if you hear me say the word product in your head, just translate it to the word app. They did fix it in here, so discovered apps, app requests. But they used to call them products, so we'll still see that in a lot of places. You have to verify the domain, but this is where any of those apps that someone has set up with a managed account appear. Again, something I would add to my once a month double check. And here are the app requests. And again, the major advantage here is you can stop someone from signing up from an app without approval. So I can update request settings, and right now I'm allowing all apps. Now, annoyingly, this is another admin-friendly feature that only, I think, who called this out earlier? Mateo, I think, or Justin, I'm making things up. Someone called this out earlier. If you're on the enterprise tier, thank you for fixing that, Justin. They do have some work items to work out. If we're on the enterprise tier, we can control this. So if you're on premium or standard, which many groups are, we're kind of stuck. And that's where we as admins need to be proactively monitoring, coming back into discovered apps and just keeping an eye on what has been added, because you will end up with some folks just creating these. Um, just to call out, even when this is turned on and you're restricting this ability, it's still possible someone can sign up for an app. So definitely monitor or keep an eye on this discovered apps, not products, discovered apps page, just to keep up to date. If there is a request, it can show up and with a needs review status. Depending on your organization, you may choose just to ignore these or just flat out deny them. That's entirely up to you. However, if you see this happening, don't just take action. Again, as an admin, we should reach out. Hey, Justin, why have you requested this JSM system? What's going on? Why do you think you need it? And we can help provide guidance as the admin and just listen to what they have to say and go, okay, actually, you don't need it because we have this thing over here. Or, oh, hey, you made a really good point. Maybe we should investigate this and have one. Justin has fixed the glitch, and I'm afraid to ask what that means, my friend. So that is the product access, or app requests, I should say. Again, the big takeaway here, discovered apps will list them. You have to be verified. You have to have it only captures managed accounts, and the app requests ability or changing the setting is only available for the enterprise tier. So those of us non-enterprise folks are just stuck with people spinning up additional Jira instances because they're bored. Okay, folks, that is all of it. That is the totality of the available learning material to be an org admin. I'm going to shift gears a bit and talk a little bit about like prepping for the exam and what you can expect and other resources, because our next session on September 8th is going to be a review. We're going to dig into as much review content as possible. I don't know, Chad. We might be. I'm kind of happy even if it is the Matrix, though. So, I'm that 99.9% who just accept it as reality. Now, for the exam, one area of learning that is very, very useful, or I have found very, very useful. Here, I'll drop this link just so you all have it. If you go under the ACP Atlassian Certified Professional and open up Atlassian Cloud Org Admin, and then scroll down for the Start Prepping for Free, this is where they have the Administer Atlassian Orgs, so what we were just looking at. At the bottom, though, they also have these prep resources, and most of the ACPs have these. But if you open this up, this is another learning path that has a lot of great stuff. And what I really like about this, I'll just jump into one of them. They call them exam hints. Now, this isn't saying these things will be on the exam, but it's strongly suggesting we should know about it. What I do with this is I go through each of them. I read all of it, and I write down on a piece of paper the things I don't understand. So what is managing an organization or creating one? I got to write that down, okay? And then that's a reminder for me later to go dig into this more and to go Google it and to go get hands-on and play with it. And so I just go through this multiple times. So I might read just this one page 5 or 6 times just to suss out what do I not understand or what do I have questions about. The site URLs are always unique and they're usually with one exception. Oh, there's an exception. Interesting. So I want to make sure I understand all of these exam hints. Again, it's not guaranteeing they'll be on the exam. It's just strongly suggesting I know what these are. This can take time, and that's okay. Again, the 7 hours we've put in so far is not enough time to truly internalize all of this, especially if you're like me and you haven't done this hands-on. So get hands-on experience, but dig through all of these prep resources because I have found these very useful, especially for uncovering my blind spots and my gaps in knowledge, which I have a lot. I don't know what that is. Liz is saying I need an extension notes and URL saver. Help me understand what that is, Liz. Also, another great study resource is the Discord community. Lots of great folks and lots more in-depth discussion. Not just for these exams, but for anything Atlassian, so join us in there. But this is pages where I'll be spending a lot of my time over the next few weeks because I want to knock out this exam. Again, in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about talking about a review. So just going over as much as we can of the content. So please bring your questions. Please bring your instance, get hands-on, and let me know what you need. I did mention I've got a new learning platform. I'm starting to put a lot of my learning videos on my own self-hosted platform. Honestly, lets me keep more of the fee, and I don't have to pay out as much to some of the other places. So if you're looking for Atlassian content, including ACA and ACP courses that include an exam voucher, check out this link. It goes to learn.heen.tech, and this is where I'll be posting all of my courses. There's also a community platform in there to get support and help. But I'll quickly just show you what that looks like before I double check for questions. But it just lists out all of the different courses I have. I think I've got 4 live right now with more coming soon. But I'll be making noise as I publish more. My goal is to have each ACA and each ACP have its own course here, and then I'll have a lot of other courses as well around other topics like Jira Service Management, virtual agents, that kind of thing. All right. And that, folks, is all I have for today. Check me out at learn.heen.tech. Drop your questions in chat. Join us in Discord, the bottom QR code. And yeah, I've enjoyed learning about this. Again, org admin-y stuff is an area that I've never been hands-on in, so getting to learn this has been very useful. I hope you are all finding it interesting too. The next ACP I have lined up is the 220, which is the Confluence Cloud Admin. So see that starting in mid-September, and that's going to be the next certification we run. Otherwise, thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button if you haven't. Check out those learning courses and share with your team. And otherwise, keep learning. And I'll see you all in about 2 weeks. Chad, so am I. It's been about 2 months, and I'm kind of worried I've forgotten a lot of stuff. Appreciate it, John. Glad you're here, my friend. Folks, I'll keep the chat open too for a couple minutes. I know we're a bit early. There wasn't as much at the end of this one. Liz, you are welcome. Kythra, I don't know how to respond to that, but thank you. Thank you, Liz. I'm looking for a better way to track URLs. I have a couple of side projects that would benefit from a way to do this. Alfonso, you're welcome. Glad you're here, and thank you for jumping into chat a couple times. I appreciate you chiming in. Justin R., you're welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Scott, glad you're here. Tushar, always a pleasure. All right, folks. I'm going to sign off, but thank you all for joining me. I've got another session tomorrow on Confluence for Beginners, I believe, and I hope to see you again here soon.